Welcome back to the Romantasy Readers Podcast. I'm Alley, and I'm joined, as always, by the wonderful and lovely Nicole. But we have a super special guest today. We are doing part 2 of our conversation interview with Sass from the Sassverse. Welcome back to Romantasy Readers Podcast.
Welcome.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you. We did not even intend for this interview to be a part 1 and a part 2. We were overly ambitious in how many questions we thought we could get in. We should have known that this would need to be 2 parts because we would have lots of conversations. So we're talking everything SJM, Bookstagram, Romantasy. So, hopefully if you're listening, you caught the part 1, but if not, definitely go back and check that out. And this is part 2.
I know.
So, to kind of get us going in part 2, because we won't necessarily talk about what we're reading today, because we
just did
not
episode.
really different than what we already talked about. I want to kick us off by asking you, Sass, like, what are some of the craziest SJM theories you feel like you've heard?
The craziest SJM theories I've heard. I think like the Elaine being evil theory is probably like, I remember when that came out, I was like, oh my god, I love this theory. Like crazy, but like very believable that she would just go, off the rails. I love that theory so much, and there's so much evidence to support the fact that she could definitely go in a certain direction. Like, yeah. I know that we have Feyre, who kind of, there was like that Persephone and Hades kind of vibe with those two, but she didn't really give off Persephone, let's be honest. She didn't have like the gardening and all of that stuff. So I think like Elaine has this, she's got this like gardening hobby that could actually become really sinister. And I think there's also a really fun idea of her, Hades, being Adis, which I love.
Ooh, I hadn't heard that. I definitely have heard just like generally that she'll be evil, and I just like love, I'm all for like something unique and different, like I want to be sucker punched in the gut by like a plot point, and that to me would be like, oh, okay, great, that's what I'm here for. I have not heard that she would end up with Adis, but I like it a lot.
She's so boring right now, so I would just be happy for like, at least if she's a villain, that would be so much more interesting, so I would be really on board with that. I heard a theory today that like her, I don't know, something about her name, but there being like a link to Helen of Troy. This theory that maybe Elaine and Asriel will end up having an affair, and then Autumn Court goes all cray-cray, and it starts this whole war between Prithian and Autumn Court because they end up having this affair. And I was kind of like, okay. Like, all right, like that would be interesting. I'm like, I hadn't thought of it from that perspective. And obviously I'm still like, I still believe Bryce Az will be endgame, but I definitely think that Elaine and Az will get explored in the next book because they obviously have a connection or something. Whether they act on it or not, I don't know. But yeah. But I would also love to see her be, as I said, right now she's very boring, and it would just be, interesting to understand if there's more to her character and it's not always so good. Like, I've always thought back to the fact that, Elaine and Nesta didn't help Feyre whatsoever when they were, growing up as girls, and Tamlin hadn't found Feyre yet. And we kind of knew how Nesta reacted to it. Like, she was really angry at her dad and that. But Elaine just kind of sat in the background and was just like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, yeah, Feyre, you just do everything for us. Like, I don't know. Yeah. It's like, that's not exactly a good person that just sat there and, like, I don't know. For me, Nesta had her reasons. Like, when we explored that in Silver Flame as to why she did that. But Elaine, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think there's so much more to her. Like, I think that we're going to explore that definitely in the next book, but I think her trauma is going to be, well, I really hope that it's going to be explored in a way that suits her, because I think we've had Feyre and the way that she dealt with her trauma, which was like very much a physical reaction. Like, she had a very physical reaction to her trauma. And then we had Nesta, who, had a very rough sort of like mental state, and who was taking her trauma out on everyone else. So I'd love to see what Elaine's trauma is, because she had the same experience as Nesta, and she was the one who killed Hybern. She was the one who stabbed him through the neck. So there's clearly something there that we haven't touched on yet, and I think her story is going to be amazing. Like wherever it goes, like I think we've got some really good options there for people who are like Elaine and for people who do sort of see themselves in Elaine, maybe to have a more gentle heroine and someone who can be this strong person while still showing a gentle side to themselves and through femininity. But then we also have these amazing ideals of Elaine being a seer and potentially being with Cosplay, or however the hell you say his name. I'm not very good with his name. But like there's all these theories around her and Cosplay working together. And I think that would also be such a cool like plot to explore. So yeah, I like Elaine.
Ooh.
I think she definitely like there's something about her. I think we're going to get something either really feminine or really evil.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I feel like it's like for sure going to be one of those two things. And I'm here for both.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've had a theory for a while that, you know, I see her being High Lady at the Spring Court, like, you know, the chest of drawers and hers being covered in like spring flowers and everything. And that just makes so much sense. I mean, even this whole now theory of Beauty and the Beast. And I mean, there's a theory out there that maybe Elaine and Tamlin will end up together, which I thought was a bit crazy. But then I was like, well, apart from the fact that it's kind of like she'd be, you know, Tamlin would have dated two sisters. Like he's in that real beast mode right now. We think of the traditional Beauty and the Beast story that Sarah kind of based this off. And Elaine is definitely your ultimate beauty. Like apart from just physically, just her personality in that as well. She has that, I feel like she would have that very calming, healing nature that she would actually have the ability to take a character that is in their darkest place and help heal them.
Yeah, 100%. And I honestly don't think that Tamlin's story is done. Like the theory that Lucian was covering for Tamlin by saying that she was his mate, and Tamlin actually being the one. Like if you go back and like read that Akamath part, Tamlin's like screaming when she goes into the cauldron. Like he's physically unwell. So it wouldn't be a stretch to say that Elaine and Tamlin are actual mates. And also the fact that we got so much of Calanmai in the last book, and we got to hear about the stags again. Like stags are not only a part of Terrasen, but they are a part of the Spring Court. They are a huge part of the Spring Court. They kill a white stag during Calanmai. Yeah. I think Tamlin's story is like not finished at all.
No. And yeah, I've heard people have this theory to say that like maybe Lucian was actually covering up that Tamlin was the mate. Like he said it, but it was actually Tamlin who was the real mate. Not that I think there've also been some things to suggest that Lucian and Elaine do have like this kind of mate connection that she's just kind of fighting right now. So maybe it's not fully, you know, there. But I'm just like, oh, wouldn't that be like a crazy twist to be like, he was just covering for his mate. Oh, sorry, like mate. Sorry, when I just said mate, I meant the Aussie version of mate. Not the Sarah J Maas version.
So, but like what I always wonder with that theory, I mean, I like it. I'm here for it. Like I'm fine with Tamlin getting a redemption arc. I trust that Sarah J Maas can do that. Like, you know, she did it very well with Nesta. What I don't really understand is like, how did Lucian know? Like immediately that like Tamlin was Elaine's mate. Like what's the like I don't know that anyone's ever talked about this. Oh, because of his magical eye. Okay. All right, that makes sense. Here we go. Now I get it. I was like, nobody's ever like spelled that part out for me when I've heard this theory. So I was like, how did he know? But like, of course, his little magical eye. I like that.
And what if like that was like his connection as well? Like what if he like somehow through the eye was able to like, you know, transition that mate thing so it felt like it was coming from him, but really it was coming from Tamlin.
Yeah.
I'm so on board with this theory now. I love it.
I love it.
As soon as something like is just like really out there, but then you can like pull the pieces together, I'm there for it. I'm totally there for
it. Yeah. Okay, we have a couple of other kind of crazy theories, and we want to see what you think of them. Like some of the not crazy, just out there theories, I guess. Because like so number one is Elaine accepts Eris's hand in marriage. What do you think of this? Are you here
One of my favorite theories. I love it because it would force the two brothers to have a blood duel if Lucian was actually Elaine's mate. So the idea that one of them will die is so spicy. Like, do I love it? No, but I fucking love Eris. I think he's one of the best characters.
Yep.
He's so morally grey, but he has so much to him. He's like, in my opinion, a better Rhysand. Like, his story is going to be amazing.
The great thing about Eris is, like, if he ends up getting a love story, it will be able to be a true enemies to lovers.
Yes.
Because he's basically an enemy with everyone.
Yes.
So, like, whoever he ends up with, it can be a true enemies to lovers. So, okay, I like it because it's just different, but I don't know that I see anything that would suggest that that's going to happen.
The only thing I think of
don't
is like the fact that Elaine does not want to be Lucien's mate. And so the best way she can get around that is to do the blood duel.
Maybe Eris kills Lucien and then the mating bond goes away or something. Who knows?
And Eris just kind of likes to inflict pain on everyone. So I feel like if he's like, oh, I can hurt my brother this way, or I can hurt Rhysand doing this, he's just going to do it because he's just going to be like, I just really enjoy inflicting pain on people. So yes, I will take your hand in marriage. Like, I don't know, Eris has his own motivations and that, but he's not afraid to kind of be the bad guy. And that's kind of why we love him so much, because he's not afraid to stir the pot whatsoever. And I don't know, he's so spicy, isn't he? He's so great. I mean, Lucien's kind of boring at the moment as well. Like, I loved him in ACOTAR when we first started, but lately he's just been just drooling over Elaine like a puppy, and it's just been sad. It's just like, I don't know, even for me, I feel a little icky at this point. I'm just like, oh, you know, he just feels a bit too desperate. Like, he needs to man up again and kind of remind us why he's the best choice. Like, it's, sort of
he gives off an air of pathetic, and I think it's sort of turned from like, oh, I feel bad for him to like, this is getting a bit pathetic. Is that mean?
Exactly. It's kind of at the point where he kind of needs to let it go and be like, look, you should realize I'm not just your mate because I'm your mate. I'm actually the best choice for you, and you need to realize that. But I'm not going to sit here like a little lost puppy hoping you're going to pick me. Like, you know, if he is the choice in the next book, he needs to seriously man up and just be, I don't know, just become impressive again and just like, someone that we actually wanted to end up with. Because right now he's not in that place at all.
No.
Okay.
Before we go to the next theory, I do want to I'm a tangent. I want to ask Sass what you think of this. So I have always been very confused by, you know how like Eris always says that like Moore knows why he did what he did. What do you think that is? I don't know that I've seen theories on it. Have you seen any? Do you have any?
I have, like, the main one that I've seen is more being a banshee. So it plays into the fact that she had a miscarriage with Cassian's child. So she was pregnant with his child, and then the abuse inflicted on her by her parents was caused her to have a miscarriage. And I think that's kind of what that's all about. But I also think that they were going to protect each other. Like, I think they were going to be each other's beard. I honestly think Eris is gay. Like, I just think he was looking for a beard and something happened. But I feel like every time I go to make a Moore theory, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I know nothing about her. Like, I love her.
I'm going to make a theory about someone I don't know enough about.
I just really struggle with her character because there are just so many things that don't make sense. Like, the fact that she's, like, this truth teller. Like, she speaks the truth. That's what the Morrigan is. And yet she's hiding basically her whole life from everyone.
Yeah. And we've barely seen her use that power. It's only been a couple of moments where that's happened.
So right really now she's my number, because, you know, we theorize that there's a spy in the midst and like working with Crochet, that kind of thing. I mean, she's really my number one pick for who that potentially is, because I go, look, I think Amryn is too obvious to be sort of the spy. And so then Moore is really probably the next one. She's been off traveling a lot. They possibly have something on her that she's having to cover up. Yeah, I don't know. She's just, I say, we don't know enough about her, so she's still a bit grey for me at this point. but not in the good way, in just kind of the, I don't really know her, don't know if I like her even.
Yeah, the only motivation that I can think of is the fact that nobody supported her or helped her when she was going through that whole drama with Andromache. So Andromache being the only woman, or the only person I should say, that she's truly ever loved. And, you know, she sort of tried to fight it because she's a human, she's going to have a human lifespan, but then the wall went up. And so she couldn't see her when she could finally get through the wall. Andromache had married a man and had kids. So, like, there is motivation there because no one supported her or helped her get back to Andromache, her only love, who she still, like, you can tell in ACOTAR when she talks about it, she still loves her even though she's dead. Like, it's so sad. So I think there's definitely like a villain arc there.
That interesting. Yeah. It's just it's always confused me, you know, like, because Eris says something like, you know, Moore knew why I rejected her, like it's not as bad as it looks, like it's actually there's a reason, and Moore's just too afraid to sort of like tell people the truth. And I like your theory, or what you brought up, that maybe they were going to be together and then to be beards for one another, and then Eris decided like, I don't want to live that way, and so he kind of orchestrated this like putting her back in the lands with like the arrows in her stomach or whatever, like to kind of send her back, but she maybe didn't want that because she wanted the beard. So that could be really interesting for sure. So okay, I like it.
Yeah, 100%. All right, well, the next one, we've already kind of touched on this a little bit anyway in our last episode, but we'll go into it again. Rhys actually being evil. What is your take on this theory?
I don't think that he's inherently evil as such. Like, I wouldn't go as far as to say like his character is purposefully evil, but I do think that it would be an absolutely amazing plot line to see Rhys sort of lose the plot. And like we talked about in the last episode, like him losing his mind out of love would just be such a cool plot line. I think it would be nice to see someone become absolutely deranged from loving people too much. Like, I just think it would be such a cool story. I think as well there are so many hints to him being Valg, which again I don't think it means you're inherently evil. I don't think being a Valg means that you are like this evil being, but I do think the fact that like Vesperus sort of said, like she sort of hinted, and Maeve's handmaiden also sort of hinted that Valg and Asteri lived together on another world, and the Asteri sort of like ate the world's power, so that's why they had to continue to move to different worlds. But I think there is pretty good evidence that Vesperus was a Valg as well, which means there was a Valg living in Prythian who had all of this like shadow power. And you know, we've got the Daglin. We know that Rhys's beast form is a wordhound, or what they called their beasts of the wild hunt, whatever they were, dogs. I can't remember. I just feel like there's too much evidence there to show that he couldn't be considered something very dark. But where she takes that is a whole nother story.
Well, I have a big theory about Bryce, and because I think that Bryce is actually really the rightful ruler of Prythian, as the queen. She's got starborn power. She's, you know, Thea's, you know, but so is Rhysand, and ultimately it's going to come down to the two of them. And obviously in Hofas, she was very much like, hey, I'm not here to take your power. I'm just coming here to sort this stuff out, and I'm going back to Crescent City, like it's yours. I'm not a threat. But I think that there's a lot more to that story that's going to come in the future. And I feel like these little hints we've been getting, I've seen Rhysand not in control of his anger, of, you know, just getting very emotional in times where he used to be pretty, he'd make these big decisions and he tended to be calm about it. Whereas now post Feyre and Nyx, he just flies off the handle and he makes really emotional decisions, which I don't think you want to see in your High King. And obviously Amren has come to him and said, hey, you should consider being like King of all of Prythian. But I actually think that it might actually be Bryce that's more the rightful ruler as the High Queen. And it might come down to the two of them almost having to duel it out to decide who's going to do that, who's going to rule.
Well, or at the very least, like that's SJM laying like Easter eggs to help readers accept that it's not going to be Rhys. Like help them accept that it'll be Bryce. You know, they can see that like Rhys isn't really like a good candidate because from other perspectives, like he is emotional or like overly protective and wouldn't make a good king. So that's interesting. Okay, next one. I love this one. Just gonna preface it with this, but I love this theory that Gwen is actually an evil water nymph working for Koschei as a spy. Have you heard that? What do you think?
Yeah, so very well versed in this one. It's called The Evil Twin Theory. It's by Emmy Ego. And what it goes through is that Gwyn's sister Katrin isn't actually dead. So everyone sort of said, like, the rebuttal for this is that Gwyn literally says in Silver Flames that she saw Katrin's head get chopped off, right? She got decapitated, but it's being said in Gwen's own words. And the theory goes that Katrin didn't actually die, is working with Koschei, and is basically pretending to be Gwen. The theory also states that Katrin might be Azriel's mate. And so when we see Azriel and Gwen interact in Silver Flames in the bonus chapter, it's actually Katrin that he's interacting with, not Gwen, which is insane. I think that would be such a good theory for like a spy as well, because you've got that Koschei connection with Gwen, and like how cooked would that be to see like the Valkyries broken apart and Nesta would absolutely fly off the handle. Again, spicy plotline.
Yes. When I was first told this theory, I was like, that's pretty crazy. I was like, you can't say, like, Gwen, like, she's Nesta's bestie. Like, this is like, the whole of Silver Flame was around the best friends. But then you start thinking about it, even that bonus chapter with Azriel, where he's kind of, because even if you think about it from that different perspective, you actually imagine that Gwen is actually a villain. And the way that she structured that chapter, she had us all in this lovey-dovey kind of space with Elaine, where he's feeling all these emotions. And then he just kind of finds himself, and he's arrived, and he's got the necklace, and he's kind of just handing it over to give to Gwen. And he's sort of like, I don't really know why I'm here. Like, but then he's just like, oh, I'm here, and I guess I just want to give this over. And I think because we're already in that lovey-dovey sort of space, we will kind of like, we instantly take it to a romance perspective. We're like, oh my God, she's his real mate. And, and that's kind of where we went. But when you sort of think, because obviously the whole water nymph thing is that, and particularly her singing, that she can almost kind of mesmerize people with her song, and that she possibly does that. And it talks about his shadows and that they're almost peaceful and sleeping. And while when I first read it, I thought that just seemed really nice. Now on deeper reflection, I'm like, ooh, what if they're like under a trance? Like, that just throws out a whole nother thing. And then I don't know if you've watched much of Sailor Moon, but one of the girls, Sophia, that I chat with in the Bryce Serial group, she's a mad keen Sailor Moon, and Sarah J Maas was hugely influenced by the Sailor Moon. And there was a few sort of villains that were a very similar kind of character to Gwen, just like red hair, just kind of a plain girl, was quite obsessed with Tuxedo Mask, and ended up kind of having this amulet that had all the magic and power in it, and they ended up kind of using that to try and control things and control him. So
I actually think there's two different theories here. I think there's the evil twin theory, right? But I also think there are theories that Gwen that there's not a twin, that it's just Gwen, that she's a siren, and that she is the spy for Koschei, not more, that it's Gwen. I like them both. I mean, I definitely like them both, but I do think there's like a whole kind of contingent of folks who think that she's just a siren and is working for Koschei, and her sister is dead, and they don't have the evil twin kind of aspect to it. But they're both cool.
I don't know that I think that Gwen would be inherently evil, though. I just don't get that vibe from her at all, and I think her character in general was there to heal Nesta, so I just can't see her becoming a villain. I just can't see it.
And the other thing I was going to say as a rebuttal to that is that, she has gone through all that trauma, and I don't know, I can't really see Sarah J Maas giving someone that kind of history and then taking them down the villain route, and unless we found out that was all a lie and a trick. But most likely, if she has gone on that journey, I don't see her becoming a villain.
Yeah, I don't either. But I'm always here for like the most outrageous thing that could happen.
That's right, the
So I'm always
crazy
like,
theory.
you know what? I would do it. I wouldn't be mad if that's what happened because I always want the most outrageous plot. Like,
Yes.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are all because we've already talked about Tamlin being Elaine's real mate. Those are the ones that we had that we wanted your reactions to. So I think we just now have more info questions. So Nicole, do you want to kick us off with the next kind of
all right? Well, this one is a bit of a cosplay question because we want to jump into that. Which is, which character do you love to play the most? I can't remember if we went into this with our last one, but we can go into it again anyway.
I think I really enjoy cosplaying Elaine, which is weird because like I wouldn't say that I relate to her very much. Like I'm very headstrong, I'm very like overbearing, I'm loud, I don't like gardening. I don't like cooking. Like we have nothing in common, but getting into character as her and acting out some of her scenes I find very powerful. Like I recently did a scene where I had her coming out of the cauldron, and it got really interesting comments on it, but a lot of people were like, the way you emoted that was amazing, and I was like, thanks. So I guess like I really enjoy cosplaying Elaine, and I love cosplaying the idea of her being like evil. Like I love cosplaying that. It's so much fun.
It's like, it's nice when a character is known as being such a good character to kind of take it to the dark side. And I used to do acting. I used to love playing a villain. I was like, I think because it was so opposite to what I am in real life, I was just like, give me the villain. It's so much more spicy and interesting.
Yeah, 100%.
I think I know the answer to the next question, but we'll just ask it anyway. But we don't have to spend a lot of time there. Who's your most frustrating SJM character?
Probably like Hunt, obviously, but then I think as well Reese. Like I'm very frustrated by Reese.
Right.
It's Hunt for me. Like I just don't like Hunt. I just could never get myself to like see anything about him that I like.
I think Hunt is there's just been a general hate and loathing for Hunt. Like for me, for the start, he was just such a boyfriend. I was like, this isn't a main MMC all-encompassing love endgame mate kind of connection I felt with Hunt. It felt just like a boyfriend guy you met at work that you fell for. Just felt very, say, boyfriend girlfriend, not the epic romance I want to see from my Sarah J Maas books. But I know exactly where you're coming from with Reese. Reese is just probably the frustration is, why has he changed so much? Like, I loved Reese. Reese was everything. He was my favorite MMC with the exception of maybe Cassian. And then he just, in the last 2 books, he's changed. And so it's kind of like, what are you doing? Why have you changed?
Yeah. You were the person that made me fall in love with this series. Why are you now acting like a complete psycho?
Again, I feel like I know what the answer to this question, but who's your favorite ship? Of all the ships out there. There's a lot of them.
Okay, this is really like off kilter. You're gonna be like, what? But I love the idea of Moore and Hypaxia. They're probably my favorite like crack ship.
Yes.
Where is that one from? You have to tell us more.
I think I saw someone just brush on it once, like very, very briefly. But because there's a lot of theories that Moore is a witch, I just think it would be such a cool dynamic. I think they're both really powerful people, but Hypaxia just has this edge to her, and they both care so deeply. I just think they would be a really beautiful couple, and also it would be really, really nice for Moore to maybe leave Prithian. I think Moore has a lot of like really damaging, horrible trauma that she's lived with for so long. Like she still goes to the bloody Hewn City, and like she shouldn't have to do that. I actually think Moore would thrive in a different world.
Yeah, I love the idea that in future books we're going to see more transition of worlds. And, you know, what we kind of learn in House of Flame and Shadow is that so many of the characters that are in Midgard now, really, a lot of them could have mates back in Prithian because that's actually where they originate from. So I love the idea of more intergalactic relationships. I'm such a fan of, like, I don't know about you, but I'm a massive believer that the next book after ACOTAR is going to be Twilight of the Gods. Like, I believe that is where Sarah J Maas is taking this. I don't know if you have looked into that much or if that's something you're into, but and so yeah, the thought that we're going to get this full intergalactic story and crossover would be amazing. Have you heard much about Twilight of the Gods? Have you got that theory yourself, or do you have a theory about what you think her next book's going to be?
Yeah, I it's not my theory, but I definitely think that the next book will involve Throne of Glass, well, outside of ACOTAR. I think it will involve Throne of Glass. Like when she did that interview with, was it the, look, I'm not going to say who it was because I'll probably get it wrong, but the interview she did just after she released Hofas, where she said that she was going to bring back some very special characters. We all know that Throne of Glass is her baby. It's the characters that she said she'll never close the door to. So I definitely think we're going to get definitely some Throne of Glass characters. And I think as well, just having Lydia be a descendant of Aelin, like it's pointing to it.
Amazing. It's just that just like healed my soul so much, because I still feel sad for like Kingdom of Ash. You know, Aelin is one of my favorite FMCs of all time, and she lost all her firepower, and that always made me sad because I was just like, but I need her to have like lots of power so she can just like decimate, like maybe not as much as she had, because it was a bit all consuming and quite difficult for her, but just like 50%, not like the 10% she has now. So now finding out that we've got Lydia, who has a whole shit ton of firepower, that like all the fire sprites are like, whoa, she has so much firepower. I'm just living for it. I'm just like, yes, I need this.
Yeah, agreed.
Nicole, I think,
All
do you
right.
want to move to the rapid fire? I feel like we've kind of asked or touched on all of the rest of our questions.
I know, with the exception of just having another big dig into Hunt and talking about like, oh, and actually, no, sorry, can we go into quickly? Because I'm just really keen to get, like, I guess just to really ask this question to get it, which is, what did you think of Hofas? What did you think of that book? And what are some of your takeaways from it, perhaps?
I think that as someone who theorizes a lot, I found that book incredibly hard to enjoy. I found myself not being able to get lost in the story at all. And sometimes I do wonder if that's because I was thinking theories the entire time rather than just enjoying the books, which is what I did for basically all the other books. It was after I'd read Hosab that I started theorizing. So I never really had that in the forefront of my mind when I was reading the rest of the MASSVERSE. So I guess I found it hard to enjoy because the entire time it felt like everything in that book was an info dump. And for people who aren't in that frame of mind, I think it would have been like such an interesting and fun story. But I think for a lot of us who were in the theorizing frame of mind, it was honestly incredibly hard to enjoy that book for anything other than info dumps. And it was confusing. It felt like there were a lot of plot holes that I didn't really understand. A lot of stories that were started maybe at the start of Crescent City that never really came to fruition, and that was disappointing. I also think that the way we got the Prithian crossover just wasn't what I'd hoped for. And I do sort of wonder if what Sarah had originally written, because we know she wrote like half the book and then changed her mind and rewrote the whole thing. I do sort of wonder, like, was Prithian and Bryce's journey within Prithian completely different? I also felt like there was a lot of lazy plot holes, like taking a pill to understand the language. Just felt it just felt
too easy, way too easy.
Yeah, and it fell flat, and I hate to say that because
I felt like
I obviously really like SJM. Like, I've built a platform off of SJM books, so I'm not going to say that I dislike her, and I'm not going to say that like I can't read her books anymore because Hofas sucked. But I'm not going to say that it was a good book for me. I didn't enjoy it that much.
And look, and it's not just you. I think it's everyone, and it's not even just your critical thinkers. Like, at the end of the day, I like the third lowest rated book that she has. I would love to know what that 1,200 page book actually had in it. Would love those additional 400 pages, whether they just got cut or whether it's a whole different story. Very curious about what that originally was. It's we've always sat here and we've theorized it about, is it intentional or was it unintentional? The kind of this book and how it eventuated. We like to hope that there's a bigger story at play and it's all going to be like, psych, you thought that was the ending, but here's actually the rest of it now. But we came out of Hofast feeling very unsatisfied. Even though we theoretically got this sort of happy ending, it didn't feel that way. It just, like, yeah, and it wasn't just us. It was even your normal readers. I think the romance between Bryce and Hunt was really not there. And so even just for you, just general, just like, hey, I just love, Crescent City World and I'm just here to enjoy this and not really think too deeply on it. Even they didn't enjoy it. So, yeah, it's been a lot of the feedback, but fingers crossed, Sarah has a bigger plan in mind. She's got our baby ACOTAR next. Like, surely that has got to be, hopefully that's going to heal everything and make everything make sense. So we've got our fingers crossed for that. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm pretty happy then. Do you want to jump on to rapid fire questions? Will we go into that next?
I think so. I think we should do rapid fire questions.
Right.
Yeah.
So feel free to have a drink of water. So this is a little game we like to play, Sass. So it's called rapid fire questions. I don't know if you play something similar. So the rules are that you have to try to answer these questions as quickly as possible. Try not to give too much reasons why. You're probably allowed to say something really quickly if you've kind of got a bit of a reason you want to throw out there, but you can't go into too much detail. We've got to try and get it done as quickly as possible.
Okay.
All right. So are you ready?
It makes it really hard because you just want to justify yourself. You're like, oh, but I want to say more, but you can't.
All right. Ready? And here we go. What is your favorite type of MMC? Hero, morally grey, or a villain?
Villain.
Do you like a happy ending where everyone lives happily ever after, or a tragic ending that breaks the reader's soul into a million pieces?
Tragic.
What kind of FMC do you prefer? An older, physically strong warrior with no magical powers, or a young willowy fae with powerful magic?
Ooh, older.
Okay. What do you think is the ultimate magical power a character can have?
Maybe like shadow. I really like shadow power.
Good answer. What couple do you want to see together in future SJM books?
Ooh. I think if we're talking reality, like proper reality, probably like Azrus is probably my number one. Could definitely happen. If we're talking like Delulu, Bryce Real.
It's not Delulu. Do you think we will get a 3-world crossover between Throne of Glass, ACOTAR, and CC? And if so, when do you think it's going to happen?
I don't think it'll be like a 3-world crossover, but I think that we will have people from Throne of Glass entering Prythian. I think everything's going to center around Prythian.
Yeah, 100%. If you could live in an SJM world, which one would you choose and why?
Maybe the Throne of Glass world. Probably like Antica, because I think it would just be amazing. It sounds amazing. The food sounds amazing. The fact that they all get high.
Happy days.
Right?
Okay. No, you've got to settle the debate. Who is the hottest FMC?
Bryce.
Yeah. All right. The next one's probably pretty obvious. Who is your favorite romantasy author?
Yeah, probably SJM.
It's pretty obvious, isn't it? Best book to read on a rainy day?
Providence Girls by Morgan Dante.
Yay. What is your favorite SJM book?
Tower of Dawn.
Yay! We know that one now. If you could bring someone you cosplay into real life, who would it be and why?
Morgan, so I can date her.
Yes. If you could choose, what ultimate twist would you like to see in the next SJM book?
I think I would like to see Elaine become evil. And I think I would like to have like Cosplay be involved in that.
Love it. What kind of villain is scarier? An evil, terrifying monster with no conscious awareness, or an intelligent, power-hungry, sadistic villain?
I think the brainless one would be more scary for me because I'd be like probably more turned on by the intelligent one.
You'd be like, I'm fine with this.
Hmm.
Okay, what is your ultimate what is your ultimate spice level? Mild spice, medium spice, hot spice, very hot spice, so hot you were dying, but if you had to die, it's probably a good way to go.
I think if we're talking specifically fantasy, I'd probably say hot spice. But if it was like a dark romance, it needs to be scalding.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it okay to kill off a main character?
Yes.
Ooh. Okay. What is your favorite non-bookish activity?
Sewing.
Ooh.
Comes in handy for cosplay, I imagine.
Best romantic environment. Do you prefer a hot tropical rainforest with a private waterfall, or a castle in a wintry ice realm with a roaring fire, fur throws, and one bed?
Roaring fire.
That's me. I love the cold weather. I'm all about a cold weather with a fire and you cozy up, whereas Nicole loves the hot weather.
I know, it's like just because I'm cold and I live in Melbourne, with, like it's cold down here. I'm always trying to escape to summer. So even in my fantasy books, I like it to be hot and tropical. But I kind of get that, it's like cold and you just need to snuggle up and just got that one bed there. And what are you going to do? So,
No,
yay, you're all done. Well
good.
done.
Can I ask a question, Nicole? Have you read the Bridge Kingdom series?
Oh, yes,
Okay,
I have.
good. I was going to say, like, if you like tropical, sexy environments.
We are actually interviewing Danielle Jensen in like a
we're
month's
super
time.
excited about it.
We managed to get her for an interview. I'm so excited. Like, I don't really want to say anything until we've officially done it, like in case they like go and cancel on us or something. But I'm so excited because I like reached out and I was just like, it was just such a like a gamble. I'm just like,
Yeah,
please come onto
sure.
our podcast. And she was like, yeah, sure. Let's like book it in June. I'm just like, oh my God, we're going to ask Bridge Kingdom.
Yeah.
We're going to ask a Fadington Blood. All these questions.
We're gonna post.
I'm so excited for you guys.
Yeah. I think as we get a little bit closer, we're gonna like post like on our social media, like what do you want us to ask her? So if I know you're not on Instagram, you're taking a break from Instagram right now, but you could go in there and be like, ask her this.
I'll be back. Don't
Okay.
worry.
Yeah. Okay, so our last game of the episode is we thought we would play a little SJM trivia. So I have compiled some questions. Some of them are easy, some of them are hard. Some of them I like ask the question and then I like try to answer it myself, and then I was like, I might be wrong about this. So I might have like an answer that you're like, actually, Allie, you're wrong about that. So depending on the question. So that's what we're gonna do. And then I'm sure because of the way that some of these questions are structured, we're gonna get them wrong. And then people on the internet are gonna be like, oh no, you're wrong. But so everyone that's listening, just this is live, right? For us. We don't have all of the internet to go and sleuth around. So I'm starting off, obviously, softball question. What does SJM stand for?
Sarah Janet Maas?
You got it. Yeah, it's Janet. Yeah. Sarah Janet.
Yay! I've just like scrolled off the answers. Like I was on them, and then I was like, wait. I'll try not to look. So if I can jump in at times too, if
Yeah.
if you get stuck, I'll see if I can answer them as well.
Okay, which characters across all of her books, all SJM books, have shadow powers? Can you name
Dorian.
all the characters that have shadow powers.
Okay, yeah. Dorian, Azrael, Race. Is there anyone in Crescent? Like those three? They're the only ones I can think of.
There's
No.
one
I'm
more.
like, is there anyone in Crescent City Land? I don't think anyone has
character
shadow powers.
who can wield shadows of some kind, and that's Rune.
Oh,
Because he can
Rune,
blend
yeah,
into
duh.
Yeah. And I will say, that's a great answer, is Dorian, Reese, Rune, and Azrael. I will say the internet has a lot of different opinions about this. some people are in the camp that the only people who have true shadow powers are Azrael and Rune. That Dorian's is not really shadow power. It's like pure power, and he can make it shadows, and then Reese
Yeah,
shadows.
true.
So, you know, fun debates for people to have on the internet. This one's again, okay, back to kind of an easy one. What book did Nesta and Elaine turn fae?
ACOTAR.
You got it. Yep. What year did the Throne of Glass series finish? AKA, what year was Kingdom of Ash published?
Was it 2018?
You got it. I had to look that one up. I didn't know.
Well done. I was guessing 2019.
I thought it was 2019 as well for some reason. But it's not. It's 2018. It must have been the end of 2018. Do you know what year ACOTAR was published? ACOTAR 1. Oh, Katie! I'm so distracted.
Was it 2014? Oh, I'm probably so off. 2016? I don't know.
It's right in the middle of those. It's 2015. Okay, this is another one that there could be lots of different answers to this. So, which main characters, because this one's a tougher one, from all of her books have teleportation powers?
Oh.
Hard.
Oh my gosh.
I had to really think about this one.
I'm still stuck on her.
Do you want me to jump in and help?
Yeah, okay, so in ACOTAR, so like winnowing, we've got As, Reese.
Winnowing would count. Yeah.
As, Reese, Moore, Feyre. And then we've got Bryce, Rune, Cormac. And does anyone winnow in Throne of Glass? I can't even remember. Oh, Maeve, she's a world walker. Erewhon, he can world walk. Mantix and what's his name? Can't remember. It starts with an O. The 3 vowed kings.
Oh my god, you're doing really well at this point. I was like, more.
That's all I can think of. I can't remember.
I can come in and help you. You did a really, really
okay.
good job.
Yeah, help me.
So, from ACOTAR, Miss Tamlin, because all the High Lords can do that, can winnow. Then there's Rune. You said Rune, but Rune actually cannot. He cannot teleport. That's a Cormac power. Rune doesn't have that power. Only Bryce does. And then in Throne of Glass, Fenris and Connell, so the 2 like wolf shifters, can have like winnowing power, which I find to be very interesting. Yeah. That it's just like wolf shifters that can winnow, and like how that might interact in other like ways that wolves
and all those guys. You're gonna find a bit more.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me. So Fenris and Connell also, but you did a really good job. I didn't include the Vowed Kings or Maeve, like because I was thinking like pure teleportation, but like I think you did more than I had put down.
And then like Azrael can't winnow. He's more a world walker, isn't he? Like, or his powers are because there's the whole theory that like when Bryce just like jumps in and asks Nesta for the mask. And they say, oh, the shadows are coming I think they say like Reese is coming over the mountain. Like she can like feel the shadows or something coming. And we think it's Reese. But of course, Reese can just teleport in. He can just winnow in and bang, he's there. Whereas like, I think Azrael can't. So we're like, a lot of people are theorizing that was Azrael probably coming to tell her off, stealing truth teller.
Interesting.
No, but Azrael winnows them places, I feel. I don't know.
I think,
someone on the internet will tell us.
I think in ACOTAR, Azrael states that his winnowing is different to Reese's because Reese talks about going in between a place to get to another place, but Azrael says his doesn't do that. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me.
Yeah.
I know. I probably need to reread it again as well. It has been a while, so
yeah. The details of the magic is tough. Okay, we're gonna go to a fun question now. What superhero does SJM have a book published about? Do you know this?
Oh, is it Catwoman?
It's Catwoman. Her only other than her 3 series, fantasy series, The very first book she ever published was a Catwoman book. So,
and I've never read that.
Catwoman fanfic. I haven't read it either. I always say that I need to because I'm like, I might as well, but I haven't. Yeah. Okay, this is probably not fair for Aussies especially. But where did SJM go to college? You probably don't know this, nor do you even care about this college in the US.
Yeah. Oh. I'm trying to think of US colleges that I know. Yale.
She
went to Hamilton College. Like a lot of writers come out of Hamilton. Some other notable alumni. I tried to find people that you would like know, like Sarah Rafferty from Suits, and then the founder of Netflix went to Hamilton College. So, fun facts.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Okay, who is the voice actor for Rhysand in the graphic audio version? Do you know this?
God, I wouldn't have a clue.
Henry Cavill.
It's
yeah, we wish.
Is it? It's not that Teddy guy, is it?
No. So
yeah, I wouldn't have a clue. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I had some hard questions. Anthony Palmini. And if you don't follow him on Instagram, you should, because he posts a lot of just like fun stuff. And like other like people he's voiced and things like that. And he plays, I don't know if you guys are Studio Ghibli fans, the anime, but he plays Howl in Howl's Moving Castle, who is this like morally gray villain. And like for the longest time when I was listening to the graphic audio, I was like, who is this voice? I know this voice. Like this voice is like sexy to me, and I knew it before this, you know. And I like kind of like looked up and I was like, oh my god, it's Howl! And I was like, oh, that's why, because I like find that character in Howl's Moving Castle to be like a really great morally gray kind of like MMC or whatever.
Yeah.
So fun facts. Honestly, that's the only reason I asked that question, so I can tell you guys about Howl's Moving Castle. Okay, last question. Again, this is another tough one, but which main characters across all the books wield fire?
Okay. Feyre, Eris, Lucian, Baron, Aelin, Lydia, Lahaba, the other three sprites, and the Sprite Queen.
I didn't include them, but yes, that's correct. Okay, so you missed Mab and Brannon, which, like, are they main characters? Hard to say if they're really main characters or not.
No, they are.
And then the Autumn King has fire, and I do assume that I kind of count him as a main character. But other than that, you got them all. You didn't.
I know there was a lot there. There's a lot to remember.
It's hard to remember. I had the beauty of like being able to look it up, but even then, like, it's not like you can just go readily find the answer to that. You have to like go through wikis and be like, okay, who has all the power, you know? So,
and if you haven't read the Throne of Glass series in a while, like I remember the big ones, but my brain is like sieve. Like after about 2 books, I've forgotten everything that basically happened. Yeah. I'm just like, Aelin had firepower, and that is all I remember.
Yeah. I thought that was a fun section, even if you didn't know the answers, just for listeners, because I was like, like they'll learn fun facts, you know, that they didn't know. All right, that is everything. We you know what? I completely forgot. I think we have a surprise. It was so much of a surprise that it's a surprise to me too.
Yeah. I kind of planned for both of us to do this. I thought, you know, since you're such a professional cosplayer, maybe you could help teach us how to cosplay. So I've brought some props. It's turned out that Alley has not been able to find any wigs, and unfortunately I cannot transfer them over to America, but I thought maybe you could like help teach us what it would be, how to cosplay. So okay, I'm going to show you all the options we have. Are you happy to do this? Will you be our teacher today?
Absolutely.
Amazing. Okay, so I have Okay, here is a lovely, it's a Bryce wig. I say that's Bryce.
Ooh.
Okay, we've got like I don't know, really a throat of glass, but I'd say that's an Aylin wig.
Or Rowan, maybe.
True.
If you want to gender bend.
Okay, I think that this is like maybe like it's gorgeous, right? I mean, amazing. Amryn, maybe? An Amryn wig?
Hot.
This kind of, what is that? I don't know, what are the guys? Dorian, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe Dorian. I think Dorian's a Kale. That's a Kale wig.
This is a real favorite. This is actually, I feel like this is the Tamlin wig. I feel like this could be Tamlin.
Oh my god. The Tamlin's a fan favorite already.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like you just really love a mullet, right? Like our little Tam need something special. So who would you like me to play? Right, guys? Or you can pick two, one girl, one boy.
I think that you should use that short wig and do a bit of a hunt, rock a bit of a hunt look.
Okay. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I think that works.
This one. Yeah. There's like this image that my friends and I share, and it's like this. It's like a picture. It's like a selfie of Hunt, but he's like done it. Is it like the 0.5 or something? So his face is all warped, and we always just like to, whenever we talk about Hunt, that is the image that we use when we're talking about him because he looks like so ridiculous. All right, I'm not a professional when it comes to putting wigs on, so probably one of the trainings I could do with. All right, let's see. Woo!
Already so good.
All right. Amazing. I'm the same as you. I really can't pull off like a dude. I really can't. I just look like
I think you need a gender
bend. I look like I'm from the 1960s.
This is really great audio for people who aren't watching this. They're just listening. We're just literally sitting here.
I know, we're just speechless because this thing is truly hideous. I can't even how do I it just doesn't really, it's meant to be like a shaggy wig, but anyway, there we go. All right.
Hot.
Hunt, guys. Yeah. Just get my manliness going.
Honestly, I feel like if you had a backwards baseball cap right now and you put a hat on backwards, that could work because he is always talking about wearing a backwards baseball cap.
I have one downstairs, but I'd have to run out of my room. So
yeah. So when you cosplay this for yourself, you just wear a backwards cap and a t-shirt. Not that you have a sun.
All right, guys, it's happening. All right, you guys talk for a minute. I'm going to go grab a baseball cap because we've got to, it's important that we really bring these characters to life. I take this craft very serious, even though I feel like right now I look like a president's wife.
It's a Jackie O moment.
This is not. No. Okay. All right, I'm going to go get a cap. It's going to work. All right.
Okay. While she's doing that, I'm going to ask you, what are some of your other favorite romantasy books that are not SJM related, like series or books?
Definitely The Bridge Kingdom. I love that. Yeah. Okay. Bridge Kingdom's probably my second favorite after any SJM books for romantasy. I'm trying to think what else. Let's have a look at the shelf. I love the.
Yeah, I see A Fate Inked in Blood.
Oh, yeah. I haven't read it yet.
Okay, I was going to ask you if you had read it so far, what you thought of it. But okay, I think you were saying Plated Prisoner. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah. I love.
You have not read Plated Prisoner.
No, I have. I've read the Plated Prisoner series. That's probably another favorite. The Souls trilogy by Harley LaRue. So that's probably more it's fantasy but dark romance. That's another one. Whenever people finish ACOTAR, I always tell them to read that series next because it's a good bridge into dark romance while also being fantasy. It's fun. It's spicy. I like it. Oh, here she is. Damn.
Okay, great. Okay. I think you're pulling it off.
I I can see the
There we
resemblance.
go. I felt like I needed a jacket to add to the manliness. You know?
I think you nailed it.
I feel like you're pulling it off. I really do.
Yeah. All we need to do is get you some like lightning power in the background.
Here we go. My version of Hunt.
Yeah, just a little lightning power.
Pew, pew.
And
All right. Anything you would recommend as to how I really portray our beloved Hunt in this moment? Anything I should do to kind of bring the character to life?
Just be really dull.
Done. Easy.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't portrayed.
I do feel like you should.
Sorry.
I love my lightning, and let's go get some pizza, Bryce. Feel like some pizza.
No,
Do you want to watch the Sunball game?
you got to add something in there
Let's go
about your
watch some
underwear.
Sunball. Oh yeah, it's so tight. It's chafing. I'm too big for it.
I think you've got Hunt down. I believe it.
I think you've got it. I really do. I feel like you need to, kind of clean up the side a little bit and then take some photos. And then listen, you're a cosplayer.
You've done it.
That's it. I just need my green screen and I've nailed it. All right, there we go, guys. There's my Hunt.
Very good. Very good.
All right, one more. Girl this time. Thank you, guys. I'll accept my Oscar nominations shortly for that one. I do look, I mean, I used to do acting a little bit when I was like super way younger, but I could never play guys. I was just not like good at it at all. So I can really understand as to why you take the guys and you actually make them feminine, because I can really understand that would make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
All right, one more. Which girl do you want me to play? Amryn, Bryce, or Aylin?
Oh, I feel like Aileen, because she's your favorite character.
Okay. I don't love this wig. I'm going to be honest. It doesn't really suit me, but I'll make it work. Try to make it work. It's actually kind of tight. Just how do you put wigs on? Like, seriously, I'm like not good at it.
We got you back, and she's the wig on.
And you've come back to Aylin. I don't know why I'm now acting really soft and serene like Elaine, because that is not who Aylin is. I should be all like feisty, but there we go.
I feel like it looks very Manon.
I feel like you need a crown. Even though Aylin doesn't wear crowns a lot, I feel like you need a crown.
Crown it'd probably just add some height. This feels so insanely flat. Actually, you know what? I really want to change. I really want to try the Bryce one. I really wanted to give that a try. Let's try one more.
There's something powerful about putting
While you're putting that on, have you guys seen, I don't know, I mean, obviously Taylor Swift Bookstagram is like all over the place for me, and she has a song that's like "Who's Afraid of Little Old Me," and so there's like a ton of people, but I've found like a couple of really good ones where they're like putting images of Aylin when they're saying like "Who's afraid of little old me? You should be," and it's just like, I don't know, it just screams Aylin. It's so good. That song is so good.
Yes, I still haven't listened to the whole new album yet. I mean, what have we got, like 30 songs or something?
31. Yeah, it's like 2 hours and 2 minutes. It's a lot. It's a commitment.
Yeah, and a lot of words. Oh, hello.
A lot of words.
Look at this.
Oh, I know. I've got a whole theory, right? I've like made, not really a bet, like I've made like a thing that I've said that if Bryzreal actually takes off, I'm going to color my hair red just in celebration.
Oh.
But like, oh, I know. I mean, you know, I was red once upon a time, and I would actually enjoy being it again. And like, let's be honest, it could be a long shot, but there we go.
It looks kind of hot. I kind of love it.
I feel a bit.
I feel actually, like you could be a Bryce. I feel like you can pull a Bryce off, you know?
Otherwise, I kind of feel like a bit like a villain here as well. Like a bit, you know.
A bit Amarantha?
Mm.
Yeah. I think...
Did she have red hair? I can't remember. She did. Okay. I feel like maybe this is not your Bryce wig. This is your Amarantha wig.
Yeah. I feel like I could really channel the evil ruler kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
and maybe
get
you're
my
wearing
Middengard worm. Go fight that Middengard worm, Feyre. This is definitely very evil. It's really like kind of like literally covering my face. Like I'm in the ring or something. But yeah, there we go.
I love it.
I think it works.
Okay. Well, actually, I kind of like this. I could kind of go with a bit of a red hair. I'm not going to mind that at all. All right, guys. Well, thank you. I'll take that off now. There's our little thank you for teaching me how to cosplay and giving me a few professional tips.
Of course.
Thank you so much for joining. We had you plug it last time, but let's have you do it again, just in case nobody listened to the first episode. If listeners are really excited to connect with you, how can they find you?
So you can find me at the Sassverse on TikTok and Instagram, and I also have a podcast called good.girls.pod, and you can find that on all streaming services. So yeah, I can't wait to meet some new friends.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We've had a blast. I hope you've had fun. And, hopefully when there's another SJM book, we can have you on again to talk about how excited we are that more is with hypaxia.
It's going to happen, guys.
Because that has happened.
It happened.
No, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for listening, everyone.
It's been a pleasure
Thank
talking to
you.
you.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye, guys.